We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxingego Unpacked. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Hey, yay, hey, yay. We're all gathered here to talk about David Benavidez and Shakur Stevenson and the striking double standards. I gotta talk about it. I gotta do it. You gotta hear this. Shakur Stevenson speaks out on David Benavidez and kind of what he should do following his cruiserweight move up and jump up. Now, your boy Ego, I got a lot to say on this topic. Let's get unpacked. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, boxing is in a weird place, and I don't mean in a good way, in a very bad way. Very fickle, just weird stuff happening, right? And I seen something that it really troubled me because it represents and shows the status of boxing. Shakur Stevenson, he's on a podcast, right? And it's a group of dudes, and they're all in the ring. And I want you guys to hear it, right? I want you guys to hear it. But just so you know what I'm talking about, this is Shakur, right? With the white and red, right? So he's being interviewed by all these dudes. And I want you to hear what the boy Shakur, Shaker, that's what I'm going to start calling him, Shaker, is talking about. And then I'll continue with why I believe it is weird and we're in weird times.
So we seen Jai Opetaia tweet immediately after the fight, you know what I'm saying? He was like, congratulate him on his fight, and he said, I'll see you soon, you know what I'm saying? And Benavidez did go and say that that's one of the fights that he wants, but he doesn't see it happening just because it's on the Zuffa.
I don't agree with that.
What you mean?
I don't think like him signing with Zuffa should stop the fight. I think we had a point in boxing where Turkey,
yeah, they can fight on the Turk card,
is the man, and I feel like Turkey is ahead of the Zuffa thing. So I don't feel like Benavidez done fought on Turkey cards already. So it ain't nothing really stopping that fight from happening. So
stylistically, how you see that fight going?
I got Benavidez.
Still?
Yeah. I think Benavidez is a beast. I think you're gonna have to be on an elite level to even be in the ring with him.
This your chance to on Benavidez because he was throwing shade at you a little bit.
I mean, I think that's what social media make it.
They
make it like that, but I don't think he already done.
Right off rip, I felt that was kind of weird. This is your chance to ish on David Benavidez because he said whatever on social media. Like, straight up instigating. This is what's wrong with boxing.
It seemed like he was just talking. And
every time I see him, he tell me that I'm a great fighter, that I'm a hell of a fighter. So, for me, I'm just believing by what he say. I don't believe that
you can't go by the internet.
Towards me.
Okay. First things first. Our Papa freaks all the honeys. Ugh, Playboy bunnies, those getting money, right? First things first. Why do you have fighters on podcasts where they're speaking minutes after minute, minutes upon minutes about other people, right? And again, some people are going to, oh man, what do you mean? It's a podcast interview. Duh. But what I'm saying is, why is Shakur a guy with no announced fight? We don't know what your next move is. And you're just popping out to speak on who Benavidez should fight? I find that to be weird. That seems very weird to me. Like, normally in the past, you have an actor, like let's say Ice Cube or something. Yay, right? He not really popping out unless he has something to promote. Friday After Next, All About the Benjamins, right? Triple X. Like, he got a movie coming out, so he'll be on 106 in Park. He'll be on David Letterman. He promoting the product. Now you got boxers who box and they talk bad about YouTubers and, oh, you stupid YouTuber. You want to be a YouTuber, right? Because you don't have no product, no announced fight, and you're running to all these podcasts to talk about a guy like Benavidez. He's not even your weight class. Like, I can understand if we're referring to people that like Keyshawn maybe in or around your weight class, or you have a direct connection to Keyshawn and you spar with him, helped him train for his fight. Benavidez is a light heavyweight / cruiserweight. So I put this. Shakur Stevenson claims that Benavidez Jai Opataya shouldn't have a problem being made since they both fought on turkey cards, LOL. And we'll get to that part in a second. One, why is Shakur speaking on Benavidez? When is your next fight, which I just went over? Two, what about the fact that Benavidez, and now we'll get to the main thing about the Jai Opataya comment. What about the fact that Benavidez post-fight says Dana White doesn't want to work with PBC and he's not going to go over to Zuffa and he doesn't want a Zuffa belt? So it's weird in and of itself that you're even on a podcast with no fight, nothing to really talk about but other people's fights and what other people did. Oh, man, Benavidez, he's a great fighter. We know that. We don't need Shakur to tell us that. What do you got going on? Why aren't you fighting Ryan Garcia, Conor Benn, or whoever you've been talking about, right? Beyond that, talking about, oh, Benavidez, Jai Opataya, I disagree. They can make that fight easy. What are you talking about, bro? Benavidez already said that he not fighting for no Zuffa belt. So how is it that you are out here advocating that this should be an easy fight to make, right? So to me, it looks like an industry plant, or it looks like, and shout out to my dude, High Level Boxer. He said that he called Shakur an industry plant on Twitter, right? And that's what it kind of looked like. It looks like you are doing somebody else's bidding. You got like 4 promoters and managers, and, you know, between managers and promoters and stuff, you got a lot of hands in your pocket, and it looks like you're doing their bidding. Like, oh man, Turkey's the man in boxing. What are you talking about? Where is Turkey? Turkey was a lot more vocal when he first came. We don't really even hear too much from Turkey. He like popping out maybe occasionally. And again, you got, it's one thing that you're on a podcast talking about someone else that really has no connection to your career divisionally, or there's no relation. You're not part of his camp. You're talking about Benavidez, right? Then you're saying the fight should be easy, but you're missing the nuggets and the part. Benavidez already explained out his own mouth why the fight isn't. He was like, I don't know why Jai Opataya even went to Zuffa Boxing. Dana White doesn't want to work with PBC. So you're like, oh, but it's a turkey card, so Benavidez fought on the turkey card. Yeah, but Dana White wasn't included. Zuffa Boxing wasn't included. So yeah, once you start adding the different particulars, right, I think the situation changes. Number 3, what about the fact that Dana White stated that he wasn't recognizing the 4 sanctioning bodies and only the Zuffa belt or the ring belt counted in his Zuffa Boxing organization? So you just had Benavidez beat Zordo for the WBA and the WBO cruiserweight titles. That's why I said, my goodness, take Shakur's mic away, right? So you had a man in Benavidez who just destroyed Zordo Ramirez for the WBA, WBO titles. And Shakur is pitching this narrative that it's still an easy fight to make, but there's inherent problems, right? Such as, how is that going to happen if Benavidez just became a champion in this new weight class. And according to Zuffa, they don't even want to recognize the sanctioning bodies. They came out from the beginning waging war, right? Waging war and saying, we're doing our own thing. We're changing the Muhammad Ali Act, which they did. And we don't care about the traditional boxing weight classes. We don't care about the traditional boxing setup and motif. We don't care about the WBA, WBC, WBO, IBF. We don't care about none of that. We're doing our own thing, right? And then you got Shakur on a podcast talking about it's an easy fight to make. How? I've already made a whole unpack yesterday about how it's not an easy fight to make. So the ball's in Shakur's court. I've already and that's the difference. You got fighters going on podcasts where it's all buddy, right? These guys, these boxers are constantly in this new generation doing these podcasts where the podcast wants to be friends. They want to be buddy. They're not getting to the hard question 90% of the time. Either they know Shakur and they're besties or friends, or they don't know enough about boxing to ask the tough questions, or they just want to keep it cool. But it's like really a waste of time, because 90% or better of these new fighters really aren't worth hearing from on the microphone. That's the cold hard truth, right? Clarissa Shields literally, and I made a video about it, check it on the channel, did an interview with Big Tigger. He don't know boxing like I know boxing. So of course Clarissa Shields going to get away with saying weird stuff. In the interview, she said she watched the Michael Jackson movie and she's where he was. What are you talking about? There's nothing about Michael that is synonymous with Clarissa Shields right now, right? Then she called out Bumgardner, a 130-pounder, a 50-year-old Layla Ali, and 50 Cent. Mind you, just like Shakur, she doesn't have an announced fight. Let's keep it going. Boxing is super fake. Shakur Stevenson is ranked number 3 on the Ring pound for pound list, but he won't move up to 147 to fight Ryan Garcia, a guy he says is a one-handed fighter and a weak fighter. Yet Benavidez, who's ranked under him, according to Ring, number 5, moved up 25 pounds and stopped Zurdo Ramirez, a champion who, from the eye test, he was over 220 pounds. He looked huge next to Benavidez. So my question to you all is this: how come PBC fighters are always held to a different standard than everybody that y'all say is greater than them? What are we basing rankings on? The eye test or what you've done, right? And I've included the current Ring rankings, and they have Shakur number 3 and Benavidez just got put at number 5. So if Shakur is ranked higher on the pound for pound list and rankings, that means you should have done more. I don't believe Shakur. I think he's a good little fighter, but I don't think he's done more than David Benavidez. Hold that thought. I'll keep cooking. Zurdo Ramirez was a champion that had never been stopped, not even by Bivol, who is also on the pound for pound list at number 6, right? So Bivol fought him and didn't do what Benavidez just did at cruiserweight, right? Where again, Zurdo looked huge. Andrade was undefeated, also never been stopped. Anthony the Dog Darrell had never been stopped. Benavidez stopped them all. So now that Shakur brought up Benavidez, let's talk about Benavidez. While you're on here talking about what he should do and what his next move is, why is everyone mentioning Benavidez and telling him what to do with his career? Meanwhile, we don't know nothing about their next move, and it raises questions like I just posed. Why is Benavidez ranked under Shakur, but being asked to do more than Shakur in the world of boxing? I need a direct answer. I'm asking you a direct question. You give me a direct answer, right? It's not making sense. So now that Shakur want to talk about Benavidez, we're going to talk about him, right? And these are the real questions I have. Not like Shakur playing matchmaker, talk about he should fight Jai Opataya, it should be easy. That sounds like industry plant talk. Why he got to fight Jai Opataya? Why are we not talking about you fighting Gary Antoine Russell or you moving up like you guys want him to move up? Speaking of, how come there's a concentrated effort to see David Benavidez move up to heavyweight after destroying cruiserweight champion Zurdo Ramirez? But Shakur, he gets to stay at 140 or 135 and just say, hey, guys, I just moved up to 140 pounds. Y'all trying to force me to move up to 147, right? But it was Shakur out his own mouth that said he would fight Conor Benn at a 154 or 147 pounds. I have videos on my page right now that can confirm it where you can hear the audio, right? So again, Shakur can be ranked number 3 on the pound for pound list, right? He's ranked over Benavidez, but you're asking Benavidez to move up to heavyweight, but we're not asking Shakur Stevenson more out of him, right? So that is not making sense. How can you be ranked higher on the pound for pound list, but the guy who's ranked lower is being asked to do more than people who are above him? Y'all make that make sense. So Benavidez, I get it. He had a hot performance. Everybody's talking about him. His name is bubbling. But you got Roy Jones Jr. and look at direct quote on his show. Go get Usyk. Roy Jones Jr. to David Benavidez. Go straight to Usyk, he says on the Hall of Game show. So why are people pushing for Benavidez to go up to heavyweight to fight Usyk? Like, think about what I'm saying to you. The man moved up 25 pounds, no tune-up, no rehydration clause, no weight clause, no stipulations that I'm aware of. Knocked out a champion and is a 2 belt holder in that division at 200 pounds at cruiserweight, right? People have seen that and they're not telling him, oh, go fight Christopher Billiam Smith, right? They're not saying go back down to light heavyweight. They're saying go up and fight Alexander Usyk, a former multiple time undisputed champion, great fighter, one of my favorites. And David Benavidez got to move up and fight the best. They're not saying Usyk, go fight Moses Atuma. He was basically your mandatory, and he's running through the lower competition tiers. He needs a bigger challenge. They're telling David Benavidez to go handle that. Shakur is like, so everybody's playing matchmaker with Benavidez, right? Turkey Al-Sheikh. Al-Sheikh wants Usyk versus Benavidez, right? So, again, my question to you good people. Why is Benavidez, who looked a million times like more of a threat than Shakur has in his recent performances? That's really a fact, right? We have not seen Shakur go up and fight someone visually bigger than him, right? And dog them at the game that is typically more advantageous for the bigger guy, right? Like right in front of you. Like there were shots where Zurdo was like landing shots that rocked Benavidez's head back in the middle of combination, but Benavidez's hands are so fast, he just was walking him down and walking through it, right? Shakur fighting Teofimo, very iffy. You know what I mean? People don't want to talk about this, but I will. T.O.'s best days were the Lomachenko. He peaked early, and then it's been a regression ever since. And then you got the Josh Taylor performance, which was cool, but Josh Taylor lost to Catterall as well. You know what I mean? So we got to really look at that win. How that wasn't like a Lomachenko win, or it wasn't like if you beat Gervonta Davis or something, right? So you're fighting Zepeda, and Benavidez is fighting Andrade. Big difference, because stylistically, Andrade is a dangerous, at the time, undefeated southpaw, where guys like Canelo avoided guys like Andrade like the plague, right? Because he just has a style that he can make you look bad. It look ugly. Benavidez is like, it's Monstro's world. Cause he's a pussy, that's why. He down, he fighting anybody. Even not limited to, but including the styles that you would feel would give the opponent the advantage, or give like Darrell or Andrade or Caleb Plant. Stylistically, those guys should or have the tools to beat a style like Benavidez, because they're all good boxer punchers, right? Shakur's fighting styles where T.O. is spotty at best, and he hasn't really looked dynamic, even in the fight with like Steve Claggett. Same thing with William Zepeda. Where's he even been? Like, I don't even think he came back since that fight. So I need to know what's up with, one, why is Shakur even talking about Benavidez on podcast, but his next move is unknown? And then two, since we're talking about him, why is everybody trying to play matchmaker for Benavidez, telling him to move up to heavyweight? But Shakur don't have to move up to fight Ryan Garcia. And then, let me take this off. For me, this is what's hurting boxing. Nobody asking the real questions like I am, right? Shakur is rated higher, and he's saying he's the best in the world. Cool. You're supposed to be confident. However, if these things are true, and you are the best in the world, at what time do we get to see it? For me, I've told you for a minute, I want to see Shakur fight a black fighter, a black American style, somebody with power and slickness, a boxer puncher, somebody fast and athletic. I feel like those would be more compelling fights than Shakur fighting Zepeda, who is tough but barely beat Tevin Farmer, really should have lost, got dropped with Tevin Farmer. I would respect the Zepeda performance more if the two Tevin Farmer fights didn't happen, maybe. But they did. And you fought him after, where he barely even beat Tevin Farmer, who Floyd Schofield knocked out in one round. So for me, I'm not understanding it. How can we hoist up Shakur to a higher level on the pound for pound list, but then we're not asking more of Shakur? We're not saying like, hey, you should fight this guy or this guy. But then he's on podcasts playing matchmaker with other people's career that have nothing to do with his weight class. And you guys feel like this is cool. When's your next fight? You're like, and keep in mind, Shakur told Benavidez to go up and fight Usyk too. Right here. So Benavidez told Shakur, he was on a stream with Ryan Garcia, if Shakur thinks he's the best and he's already willing to go up to 144 pounds, just go up 3 more pounds. Right? He's like, you're saying basically Benavidez is a throwback fighter, and he's saying you're the best and you want to fight at a catch weight of 144. What's the 3 pounds really really to you when you can clearly fill out at 147 and you got skill. Shakur got mad and said, quote, I said I will just on my time and not on nobody else's time. Tell David Benavidez I will go up when he goes up to his 4th weight class to fight Usyk. Bro, pack Shakur up. That's how you cook. In my video, I gave you straight receipts, straight flames. Pack this man up. Roy Jones, Shakur, they're telling Benavidez, ranked number 5, you need to go fight Usyk. So really, it's a backhanded compliment that the world of boxing is like, Benavidez, go fight Jai Opetaia. Because outside of Benavidez himself, Jai Opetaia maybe is the best guy at cruiserweight or the most dangerous. Hey, Benavidez, we seen what you did to Zordo, but you need to fight a former undisputed Usyk at heavyweight, even though he has a fight coming up. But we need to see that from Benavidez. Yeah, you knocked out guys who had never been knocked out like Zordo and Andrade and Darrell, and you beat Caleb Plant, and you had blemished David Morrell, who I still feel is a very good fighter. In fact, after seeing how Zordo looked versus Benavidez, I have even more respect for David Morrell because he had like 9 fights or so when he fought Benavidez early in his career, and he dropped Benavidez and definitely held his own in a very good fight that Benavidez won. So for me, that was very impressive by both Benavidez and Morrell, that it was really a premature fight. They didn't have to fight at that given moment, but they still gave us that fight. And Morrell did way better than a much bigger guy in Zordo Ramirez. So y'all need to get on Shakur and be in his comment section and start asking the questions that Ego's Army is asking. You got all this energy to tell the next man, oh, go fight Usyk and all this type of stuff. But you're telling us, Ryan, you're not even that big. He literally looked at Ryan Garcia after the Barrios win, sized him up, and was like, man, I thought you were bigger. You're not even big like that. And Ryan was like, yeah, why would you think I was that big? Blah, blah, blah. Then you're like, Ryan Garcia is a one-handed fighter. All he got is a left hook. Ryan's trash. Ryan hasn't evolved since the amateurs. All statements by Shakur Stevenson. I'll fight Conor Benn at 154. All statements by Shakur Stevenson, right? But let him tell it. Get off my case. I said I will move up just when I'm ready. Let me move up in peace at my time, right? Not when you say. Tell Benavidez he need to move up to fight Usyk. So I know you guys can't do it. I know that for a fact. Tell me how this works where on the pound for pound list, you get ranked higher, but you have to do less. And then people who, if they were ranked higher, that would signify that right now they're better than you and harder to beat, right? So why would guys underneath that have to do more than the people who are above them? There's no way you can make that sense, right? And to put salt in the wound, Shakur Stevenson is refusing to be forced into a premature move to a 147-pound welterweight division, insisting on managing his own career on his own terms while potentially fighting top names. Stevenson demands strict rehydration clauses, specifically refusing to fight Conor Benn at 147 without such conditions as reported by The Ring. So the bottom line is, yeah, everybody's talking about Benavidez, but Benavidez is a true throwback fighter, and I respect anything he's talking about as far as telling other fighters they should move up, because he himself is doing it. He's not just preaching to everybody else. He's practicing what he preaches. He's like, hey, if you're going to fight at 144, move up to 147. He's able to do that because he's moving up to 25 pounds right, to fight a bigger Zurdo Ramirez. So when you got a guy like Benavidez, you can't really, there's no real rebuttal unless you're doing more than what he's saying. You know what I mean? The only time it wouldn't make sense if Benavidez was asking other fighters to do what he's not willing to do, but he's not doing that. Couldn't get the Canelo fight. He's like, F Canelo. I'm going to keep calling him a P. I'm going to keep calling him a B. And I'm going to keep making him look bad. But I'm going to move on with my career. Bring me Andre, a guy Canelo didn't want to fight. Bring me David Morrell, a guy we know Canelo wouldn't fight. Bring me Anthony Yard, a guy we know Canelo wouldn't fight at 175, right? You fought Kovalev, who beat him, cool. But he was washed. He was like a washed version of Kovalev. Then you never rematch Bivol. Benavidez fought Zurdo, who we know called out Canelo and said the best need to be fighting the best. Canelo literally said he don't want to fight Zurdo. Literally. I can pull it up. I can't be beat. I pulled it up just like that. Zurdo on Canelo. We used to spar all the time. The best should fight the best, right? Yeah, we sparred many a times with Alvarez in Guadalajara, right? I used to be middleweight at the time. It was a great experience, blah, blah, blah. And in this article, he says he used to spar him. I think the best need to fight the best, Ramirez said. So he had been calling out Canelo, right? Canelo Alvarez literally said, Canelo Alvarez, hold on, let me highlight it for the boxing dummies. You see that? Canelo Alvarez specifically pointed out that he was not interested in fighting Zurdo Ramirez in the event that Ramirez defeats Bivol. Pack Canelo up, pack Shakur up, and if you got to catch a body, that's how you catch a body. Canelo, before Zurdo was about to fight Bivol, even though Bivol had beaten Canelo, right? Bivol went on to fight Zurdo, and Canelo said specifically, even if Zurdo beats Bivol, I don't want to fight him. So Benavidez is what these boys claim that they are, right? A true throwback fighter. He's not just talking about it, he's being about it, and you got to respect that. So before people throw shots and rank him lower, they need to start doing and acting like Benavidez. We Unpacked. Live streaming can be tough, which is why I use StreamYard. Click the link in the description for StreamYard, which is an awesome tool that enables you to set up your stream with ease of use. Get great results with live streaming. It's what I use. Stream to social media with ease with StreamYard. Live streaming is here to stay. Engage with your audience using StreamYard. Great way to reach out to your audience and connect. So you need a tool that can do that. If you're new to YouTube and you're struggling to get views, one tool I can provide to you is TubeBuddy. I've been on YouTube over 10 years. I use TubeBuddy daily to crank out videos just like this one that you're watching. Learn how the pros do it with TubeBuddy. YouTube receives a lot of traffic, which also means a lot of creators, a lot of people putting out content. So you need to learn the ropes so you know how to separate yourself, especially if you're new, but even if you're a pro, use TubeBuddy. The link is in the description. Get more views, more subscribers, and a higher click-through rate, so ultimately you can realize all of your online goals. Use my affiliate link in the description and grow your channel fast.